talking about conditioning today. Okay, so the round starts and the first thing you do is jump. Okay, this is classical conditioning where you are so used to Guile throwing fireballs, okay, so Guile throwing sonic booms, that you jump preemptively, and Guile hasn't actually even done anything yet. That is like one of the most basic prime examples of classical conditioning, in some circles called Pavlovian conditioning, right? So you've heard the example of Pavlov, and he would ring a bell and then give the dog food. And then every time he rang the bell, he would bring the dog food and the dog would salivate and eat the food. And then the dog finally got to the point where he could ring the bell, but not bring any food at all, and the dog would still salivate. And you can see that at home if you have a pet and you jiggle their bowl or you make the sound of the bag of food or whatever, they come running. It's because they've been conditioned to that way, and that was something Pavlov came up with. As a Zangief player, this is one of those scenarios where you really need to look inward and readjust the way you play people so that you can overcome some of these moments where you've been conditioned based on everyone else, right? So you're fighting player 2, and player 2 has never done any of that to you. He's never given you a flash kick to respond to. He's never given you a sonic boom to react to. You are still intentionally jumping because you know that those are the tools available to you, right? You know that when he's on the screen, he's the bell and the food is the sonic boom, or in this case, sonic boom is what you're used to seeing. So as a player or as a Geef player, sometimes this can really get you caught up because the first thing that you're thinking about is, this is his tool and I need to get around that. So a good way to start out until somebody shows you what they're going to do is to just remain calm and watch them first. Allow them to show you what type of player they are, right? You'll see this a lot. A lot of Shotos do this. Guile players do this as well. They'll throw 2 sonic booms and then the third one, they're expecting you to react. This is also a habit generally, okay? This isn't probably one of the deeper habits because a lot of times people let this type of gameplay go as soon as they start to panic. So as soon as you get past their first layer of, I'm going to play solid defense, the next thing that comes out are their habits. So what you need to do is crack through this by being patient. So I see him throw the 2, 1, 2, and as he's waiting, I move into his space. Now he's thinking, I need to throw another sonic boom there. I can't wait anymore with the third one. It's going to look like this. 1, 2, and he's walking back and forth. And as you walk into his space, now he's thinking, I can't do that. I can't play this way with this player because he's watching what I'm doing. He's not reacting to the stuff that I'm doing. He's just paying attention and then building a game plan based on that. So if he throws, he throws a sonic boom and then you walk into that space, now he's given that space up for free based on the way he's been conditioned by other Zangief players or what have you, that you would jump after the second one. So I had an example of this last night. I was fighting quite a good Guile player, and I'll see if I can find this replay and I'll put it in the video. This particular individual is exceptionally reliant on sonic boom and flash kick. A higher level player and quite good here in Oceania. However, I did that. So I'm fighting this Guile player. I walk into his space after he throws the 2 sonic booms and waits for the flash kick, and he starts walking himself back into the corner for free. I didn't do anything. I hadn't done anything yet. I didn't jump. I didn't try to, drive rush in or rush him down. The first thing I did was watch what he did, and then as soon as he stopped, I walked into his space. You've heard me talk about it a lot on the channel and also in other videos, that Zangief has the unique ability to have full screen pressure, and not very many characters can put people in a position where they feel obligated, not just compelled, but obligated to walk themselves into the corner because they're afraid of you, okay? The only thing to fear is fear itself when you play based on what I just said. So you're watching Geef, and then you use the tools that you have based on the stimulus that you're offered, right? So he neutral jumps, I wait. Or he jumps forward, I flash kick. I don't do anything. I don't give him any more information than I have to until it's necessary. So passive conditioning is where, and this is a latent form of conditioning, okay? This is where you acquire knowledge or adjust your game based on things that you've seen previously. The problem with this type of conditioning is these things usually will only come out after you have been in this given scenario and it's triggered that memory or it's triggered that experience, right? Zangief, in my opinion, is very big on space control, and part of that is observation and then moving into an opponent's space when they've given it up to you and never letting them have it back. This character still has okay defense, but it requires you to heavily observe your opponent if you want to play any defense at all, okay? And to keep them on the back foot. So in my opinion, when you are watching your opponent, that space control is everything, because it allows you to get into a position where they're trapped and then they can't do anything, and you're eliminating their options when you put them in the corner, okay? Avoidance and escape, okay? So avoidance conditioning is when you're changing a behavior to actively avoid a negative outcome. But escape conditioning is probably the most important of all three of these that we've discussed, okay? Escape conditioning is probably the most important because these are the habits. So escape conditioning is the type of habit that you want to watch for so you can blow someone up. So you've seen me in other videos. The last one that we put out, I called a player out several times. This wasn't just one time. I watched this individual and I knew based on the stimulus that I was offering, this person wanted to take their turn back as many times as possible, even if it got them killed. Okay, this is a type of escape conditioning. So this is learning to perform an action that terminates an ongoing negative situation. Okay, and so when you pick up someone's sort of escapist mindset in Street Fighter, you are rewarded by the ability to essentially blow them up for free. You don't really have to do a whole lot. This also occurs in players who are scared. Okay, so escape conditioning can also be where they're holding up, right? So every time I get them in the corner, I am doing what I can to pressure them. And a lot of times what you'll see me do lately, or something that I've been doing lately, is let's say I knock them down. I used to always take my Oki here and go for like a meaty or whatever, but now sometimes I will backdash or let them see me walk backwards. Sometimes I'll do this and then I'll backdash here to make them second guess their DP attempt. Okay, and what does that do? That puts me in a position where just a micro walk forward can give me a light SPD. If they jump here, or they walk forward and jump, I can still steer lariat forward or back. Okay, so I still have my defensive options. I can air to air, right? So this puts me in a very advantageous position. Okay, so I come up, I hit headbutt, hell stab, I hit headbutt, hell stab, lariat as I approach, and then I walk backwards here. So I'm blocking, I'm paying attention to his sweep. If he tries to sweep me on wake up, if he tries to DI, I'm ready for that. And escapist conditioning will tell them the only way out is to use whatever has worked most of the time. So for a lot of players, that's holding up in the corner. Okay, Zangief has a lot of really good resources to stop that. A lot of players want to jump out of the corner. I do that quite often. It's one of my player flaws, that I need to fight my way out of the corner instead of trying to jump out. So all of these things will help you sort of build a game plan based on the stimulus that's offered to you. But the most important part here amongst all of it is to use conditioning to observe. Remember, even if you don't believe you're getting conditioned, you definitely are, okay? And sometimes there's even deeper concepts. This is the third layer that a lot of professional players play on, where they reverse condition. So they will condition you first, knowing that you know you're being conditioned, and then they will step underneath that and do something completely the opposite. And so a lot of really good players like Daigo will not let you condition them. They want to go even deeper than that. Sometimes people do this as a way to express their rage. Like, I'm getting knocked down, but I'm going to mash anyway, right? You'll see that a lot. You'll see a lot of players do, where they know it's your turn, but they will still be pressing, and you'll see counter hit, punish, counter, right? Or they'll just mash parry because they don't want to have to deal with thinking, right? So a lot of times, if you hit somebody with this and they're mashing parry, they'll DP right afterwards, that type of thing. Some people just rage reverse condition themselves, where they're like, I refuse to be conditioned because I just won't let you do that. Okay, that's also a thing. However, you can pick those habits up too when you see things like counter hits coming down the side of your screen really fast, or every time they wake up, they're mashing. This is a way that they're showing you, I don't want to respect you. I don't like what you're doing to me, and I'm just going to make sure I take my turn regardless because I just don't believe what you're doing is real. The way that you combat that with players is to make it real for them. You don't know my frame data, so I need to show you my frame data. So I have to teach you that I'm plus here. Okay, I need to teach you my frame data, and then I need to destroy you after you learn it. A lot of times players can't pick that up in a first to two. So what they'll do is they will never learn the frame data. They'll just say things like Zangief is broken and I can't do anything, right? Instead of studying it. So the beauty of that situation is you must keep your strings tight. So what does that mean? You have to do things that are completely real that they cannot mash out of. So keep this in mind as you're playing. Remember these different types of conditioning, and remember that really good players and even bad players alike are going to do what they can to condition you to make you do what they want you to do. And remember also that it's okay for that to happen at times because it allows you to play their game against them. So keep in mind that you can reverse condition yourself in a negative manner, even if you've labbed the matchup, even if you have trained in the matchup. Sometimes you can condition yourself in a negative manner because you're not observing. So remember to observe your opponent. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'll be down there too, just chit-chatting with you. If you guys like videos like this, let me know. We'll do some more kind of deeper concepts when it comes to the mind games of Street Fighter. I appreciate you guys pulling up.